Hey everyone, this is Pig for Life coming to you again with a uh, episode 4 of Community Chatterday. This is going to be collection displays. Show me yours, I'll show you mine. We got two guests today, one returning, Memo224. Say hi, Memo.
Hey everyone.
And we got the Rusty Mechanic, who's a new one to our channel, but he and I have been talking for quite a while. He's been joining in the Discord, and even before that, we were chatting a bit on Facebook. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the presentation itself. All right, this time I didn't actually show everything ahead of time, but we'll start off with guest tech specs. Uh, Again, this is just an opportunity for everyone to get to know our guest who we have today, where they're coming from, and if they have anything to promote, like their channel or anything like that, we can hear from you. So, Memo, since you're returning, why don't you kick us off?
Hey everyone, Memo224. If you don't know me, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search Memo224. Uh, Definitely into Masterpiece and Legends Transformers collecting. Dabble a little bit in GI Joe, maybe some Legends, but pretty much anything 80s is what I'm into. Definitely.
Yeah, Memo, what was the last topic you were on with us? Were you on the first one, or
Legends.
was it
Legends.
Legends? That's right, Legends. You were on the panel of like 18 guests that were on for Legends.
I was on a long episode.
And why
You
do you want to
guys,
talk about collections today?
you guys are part of my new problem of Legends collecting now. Thank you very much.
Not me. I always say Legends is a slippery slope. Don't do it. So don't put that on me.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, what had you interested in coming on and talking about collection displays and so forth?
Well, I mean, collecting is what I do. I mean, it's my alcohol of choice, I guess. You know what I mean? And if it weren't for my collection, I wouldn't be on YouTube. I wouldn't be on Facebook or Instagram, to be honest.
Oh wow! All right, well that's a big a good reason for being on here. All right, let's hand it over to Rusty Mechanic. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Rusty.
Hey everybody. So yeah, I've got a couple of channels going on right now. I started off with Transformers Masterpiece Theater. So if you search for that, I have my own YouTube channel there, strictly dedicated to everything that has to do with Masterpiece figures. And more recently, I just started another channel that I just called The Rusty Mechanic. And again, because of the Legends discussion, I thought I'd branch out into things that are not Masterpiece related and anything that I can think of that's Transformers or collector related. So you can go and check that out too. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook as The Rusty Mechanic. So please go and check me out. But same as Mimo, when Peak came up with the idea of let's talk about collections, the thing I've always been really intrigued about is what is in people's collections and how are they displaying them. And sometimes I even have some strong opinions as to whether or not the way that you have your collection displayed is the right way or not. And I'm sure that we're probably going to get into that later, but of course, everybody to each their own as to how they want to do it. I'm always interested in the different ideas and some of the unique ideas that people have, or even the mix and match that people get into in regards to what they have in their collection. So
Awesome, Rusty. Hey, we have a fan already, Robot Show Tunes, who was on the show a couple times already. He said, "Oh, you're a Masterpiece Transformers Masterpiece Theater."
That's me. Yeah,
that's good to know. Awesome. Yeah. But yeah, these guys are all over the place on all these social media. I have people who follow me on Instagram because I still use my screen name Pig for Life, but it's not related at all to trans. It's just like personal one, and I post like once every 4 months. So people who follow that are going to be sorely disappointed because it has nothing to do with Transformers. All right. So once again, these are our guests for today, and again, this community chat today really is powered by you guys, the viewers, the fans. Really want to get people on who are just part of the community, whether you have a YouTube channel, Instagram, whatever or not. If you have something you want to say or something you want to talk about, we want to have you. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but the best way to get in contact and be part of the conversation or be a guest is to click on that Discord link in the description below and join my server, and then you can join in just conversation. We have fun stuff that's going on there, as well as getting added to the Chatterday channel. So with that, let's go ahead and get straight into the meat of the show. Thanks, real quick. Thanks to everyone who's joining. I see some regulars, CTT Blaze, Robot Show Tunes, Winston Leggett as always, Lowell Martin as always. Who else we got? So I think that's about it for now. Let's go ahead and get started. First segment up is power rankings. So we did this previously with the legend scale. So Memo, you're familiar. It's going to be a little bit different this time. We're not going to be going through and ranking everybody's displays in kind of that tier maker format that I did last time. I had asked everyone on my different social media things, my Discord channel, Facebook, YouTube. I forget if I posted on Twitter or not, asking folks to submit photos of their displays, collections, just so we can take a look at them, discuss them. I don't think we're going to give them a ranking per se. I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll do just kind of an A through D kind of ranking. But I wanted to see what people thought of these displays, get your opinions, Memo and Rusty, and see what you like, what you didn't like, and any ways that we might be able to help improve, ideas to improve. Or ideas that we're going to steal from these folks that have their displays up. So we have a few of these going on. So let's go ahead and get started. First one up is from community member Alternity. I think he reached out to me on Discord. He submitted this small shot of his display, obviously a masterpiece collector. So want to get your opinions on this. Everyone in the chat, what do you guys think? Was it A, B, C, or D? Give it a ranking, or maybe even S tier. So, Memo, why don't we start with you? What do you see? What do you like? Any suggestions?
Definitely like the lighting. I'm not a fan of the detox myself, just because I don't like the fact that you can see behind it. I'm actually, just based off that reason, I'm redoing the shelving in my other collection area. But it looks good. There are risers in place, so you don't get jumbled up in the background. Looks really good. Definitely. He's got Decepticons on the left, Autobots on the right, obviously. So he's got good separation. I think it's organized well. Looks good.
All right. What about you, Rusty?
Yeah, same idea. So I don't necessarily like the lighting's good because you can see the figures, but I'm not necessarily a fan of when you see the lighting. I'd rather see the lighting hidden or tucked away in some way. And I know that's difficult to do with the details, which is, I'm with Mimo. I'm not a huge fan of the details. I always find that the size of them isn't necessarily enough to spread out the figures, although Alternity's done a really good job here of making sure that you can actually see every figure that's on every shelf. And yeah, I like the idea of splitting them right between the two factions. That's always cool too. I would have liked to have seen a third detail shelf here just to put those figures that are on top in there as well. If you're going to have the detail shelves, if you're going to spend the money on these types of figures, you might as well add the extra $80 or whatever it is in the US to get enough display cases to put everything away.
Yeah, so I think you guys hit the things that I was going to say right on the head. For me, I had this kind of very similar setup with my detox. I have like the Autobots here on this side and Decepticons. They used to be right next to each other in a very similar fashion. One of the things that I tried to do, which I thought was a little bit more interesting, which addressed some of the issues that you guys had, was when I had them together, I actually tried to take out the two middle panels so that it was almost like a big shelf, and then they could actually cross a little bit, make it a little bit larger space and dynamic. And I remember I tried to recreate the Transformers movie scene where Optimus was, jumping and shooting all the Decepticons and stuff like that, crossing over with his trailer in the back and using that. Remember, they had the MP10, the re-release had that really crappy
drone
included figure stand that it came with.
Drone.
It was really bad. It barely held him up, but I had that, so he was jumping in the air. So this one really is very similar to what I had. I do like the lighting. I think I wanted to do something similar to that. And if I turn on my lights, you'll see that only one of them has lights. So at least you follow through with both. I am also so it's kind of funny that we're talking about detox and whether we like them or not. That's kind of a preview of what we'll be talking about a little bit later. But I'm of the same mindset. They end up being a little bit challenging for a masterpiece display just because of the footprint versus the height is kind of weird, because anything that you could use to kind of fill in the height ends up being too much, area on the glass panel, so it ends up being kind of squished. And so as your collection grows, like mine, you basically are just forced to having them stand around. But I think he's done a really good job, as Mima said about the risers. I've never used risers; I've just been too lazy or cheap to buy them, but it makes it look good to have these risers.
Yeah, the risers definitely make a difference in anybody's collection. I hate trying to stagger the figures on the shelf without lifting them up, right, so that you can see when you only see like 50% of the figure, right, you're losing something there, and the risers really help with that. The shelving units that I have are best from IKEA, but they have these half glass shelves that you can use as like risers in the back that I use as well. But yeah, anything you can do to get your figures to stagger them so that you can see more of the figure. Absolutely. Yeah, no, he's done a really good job there.
Yeah, I think overall this is a really good, nice small display. Again, this, once I think you start getting bigger, the detolfs end up being not effective uses of space, I find, compared to other shelves and so forth. Really quick, couple of questions. One is from King Rouse saying, anyone getting that $700 Voltron? The Blitzway one is the one I have. They just revealed that 301, which I don't think I like as much. Maybe just because it looks very similar to the Solo Chogokin one. So I don't want one, and I don't like the kind of like a ab brake or extension that the 30 and the Solo Chogokin one has. And I think overall the Blitzway / Carbonics or whatever it's called one just looks a lot better. Although I've seen a lot of horror stories about a lot of breakages in quality since it's already been released overseas. So we'll see. Couple more shout outs. Just call me BB. Good to see you. King Rouse, obviously we just shouted him out. Pop the Trunk, how's it going?
Hey, Pop.
Pop the Trunk says definitely A+. I agree. I think it's definitely A+. I think the only reason he hasn't added another shelf for some of the guys up front, up top, I think he's going to be putting his combiners up there, and he's just waiting to get the rest of the Fans Toys ones in, so they can have a combined one Decepticon versus one Autobot one. And I think that's another reason why the detolfs are really limited. Unless you get a couple of those custom risers or whatever that somebody was selling, you can never fit any like combined or anything in there. All right, so let's go up to the next one.
Just want to shout out Maui too.
Community member Anthony Brown Jr. He was on the show when we talked about anime 2 weeks ago, so thanks to him. As you can see, he talked about his extensive Marvel collection. He was a Marvel fan from when he was little. I think he said he sold most of it off and then he bought it back. But here's one shot, not even of his whole display, but this is a nice center shot. So let's start with you, Rusty. What are your thoughts on this?
So, I always find it weird when people put things that aren't figures with their figure collections. Like, I understand that this is a Marvel themed collection he's got going on. And by the way, like the 45-degree angle thing, like that flow, that looks really nice. I really, really like that. But I've never been a fan of like seeing other things that aren't figures. Like, if you're going to display your figures, then display your figures. If you're going to display your book collection, then display your book collection. But it takes away from one or the other. If I'm a fan of the figures, I want to look at the figures. If I'm a fan of the books, I want to look at the books. I don't want to look at both at once. I'd rather see this split out into one and the other, and not this half and half above and below thing.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I can definitely see that. All right, what about you, Mima?
Definitely digging the Marvel statues, but I kind of agree with the books. They seem to add sort of like a cluttered look to me, to be honest. So I think there definitely should be some separation there. I don't know, maybe if it were me, I'd possibly try and put like a floating shelf up on the wall with the books, just to give some sort of separation between the statues and the books themselves.
Yeah, but he loses the space in for the posters, right? So I see what he was trying to do, right? He's trying to create like a theme effect on the wall with the posters. But like I said, the eye gets detracted then away from one or the other. The lighting is missing too, right? Like that's the problem with black display cases, right? If you don't have some type of lighting in there, it's the blackness just absorbs all the light in the room, right? So you don't get anything on the figures. So that's the other part too. There definitely needs to be some lighting in here to help out to show off those figures. And that might actually help, like if you wanted to keep the books with the figures, the lighting in the shelves with the figures might help to, again, right, bring the attention to the figures, and then the books are just like an after effect.
Yeah, for me, I would say that the books don't bother me so much on the bottom, but the like front and center is that shelf in the middle, which looks like maybe his collection of stuff that he's currently reading. I think that's probably the most thing that takes away, because it breaks up the line of his statues already. You know, he has a couple shelves and they're all kind of level, and that one shelf in the middle is like kind of like the centerpiece, and it's just kind of takes away. Maybe he did it to kind of elevate those ones in the middle, but I think it would have been better to actually have them all on the same level to have a little bit of consistency. That being said, I do like the integration of the artwork, and I actually think instead of doing statues where they on top, I would take that shelf out and then on that 45-degree angle, put some kind of, and I'll talk about this later, is a centerpiece, like something that is either larger or it's the thing that when you come in and you see the collection, you're like, oh wow, it's eye drawing, right? I think that would have been really cool to do. But overall, I mean, it's an impressive collection of both figures and books. I think it also could be just like a lot of us, it's just kind of a space issue, right? You want to still have all your stuff displayed, but only so much shelf space. So I don't see Anthony on today, which is a bit of a bummer. A couple more shout outs. Hey Cheryl, thanks for joining again. Let's see who else we have. And T-Man agreed with Rusty's assessment about kind of getting some separation between the books and the collectibles themselves, the figures. Although he just said I'm not really here. He's probably playing Fortnite or Horizon Forbidden West, which I wish I was doing right now. I'm not gonna lie.
By the way, can I just give a shout out to T-Man, and I just want to thank him again for his video that he did on Thomas way back, because I literally lost sleep over trying to get those thrusters into place. If it wasn't for his video, I never would have figured that out. So thanks, T-Man.
What about my video? Clearly you watched his and you didn't watch mine.
No, it's a quality thing.
Okay. So his videos are just better. Okay. All right. I got you. All right. CT Play says this one is like mine, but 1,000 times better. All right. Well, hopefully Anthony Brown Jr. comes a little bit later and he checks out our feedback. Maybe we'll see him in a future episode where his collection might have taken some of our input. All right. Another former guest, Baker Jin. He was also on the last episode for anime. If you didn't remember him, it's because he basically looked, sounded, and had the same opinions as me. We're both Korean and like the same thing, so he was basically superfluous to that conversation. So Baker Jin, here's his collection. He looks like he's sporting a Billy bookcase instead of a Detolf. So, and then he obviously has lighting and everything like that. So I think the one thing that for me that is a distraction for me, and it's kind of funny because you'll see it in my room, is I don't like figures that are displayed on the ground. Like I feel like they need to be elevated, at least off the ground somewhat. I mean, all my stuff is on the ground. This is all junk and stuff like that. But my display pieces, I try to keep up. So otherwise, I'm also not a fan of yellow lighting. I had to settle for that on some of my earlier ones, but I want to swap them out to not have yellow. I've never been a warm color fan. So, but overall, obviously, a very nice collection. It's hard to see some of it, but it looks like he has a mix of obviously Transformers. He has that one shelf in the middle that looks like more than meets the eye themed MMC stuff. Then he has some Gundam populating the top. I don't really mind that much, but I wanted to see if you guys, Rusty, if you still had the same opinion. Does it bother you that he has Gundam mixed up with Transformers and so forth?
Yeah, again, it's for me when I'm doing a collection, I'm always trying to plan out how I want to display it, right? So as much as possible, and again, it's probably a space thing, right? But as much as possible, I try to keep the theme of the collection the same, right? So when you start mixing your collections together, again, you're detracting from what is it that people want to look at, right? Or what are you trying to show off? But like I like the Billig bookcase versus the detail, right? To what Mimo said before, right? There's something in the back that when you're looking at the figures, then the colors are coming away and you're not losing anything, but you're not like looking past the figures. There's something behind it, even if it is a wall. So the figures pop a little more in these dark type of display cases. Now I'm with you on the lighting too, and I have the same problem, by the way. Like the display case I have the exact same lighting in mine, and I absolutely hate the yellow color. Now, so I keep looking for white. I want to switch to white, right? Because it's daylight type light gives a better pop off the colors than that. I'm really concerned about the conglomeration that's going on as you move down, right? It's like he's got it really nicely displayed. Probably, the figures that he's more proud of on the top three shelves are spread out nicely, and then everything sort of gets crammed in together right down the bottom. Again, probably a space issue, but you start to lose the collection as you move down into it, right? You can't really see what is going on down in the bottom half. And I'm going to assume the stuff on the floor is probably not ever actually displayed on the floor. It's probably he just threw it in there for the picture, but
well, that could be the case.
Yeah. The other thing with these doors is he obviously took the picture with the doors open. I suspect he probably has an issue that when you close those two doors, you've got that big line down the middle that cuts into your display as well, right? So you want to try to have a display case that you don't have that division down the middle if you can, right?
Yeah, I have that same bookcase, and the even the crossbars.
Yeah,
unless you have the shelf aligned so that the shelf aligns with that crossbar, you end up having a big line, like a big sensor bar across some of the chest or something like that.
Yeah. But and again, the collection's impressive. Like there's a lot of stuff in there, like well done with the collection. It's just if you could figure a way to spread out those bottom three shelves, it would look a lot better.
T-Man says there must be no children in that house.
Exactly. No pets either.
Yeah, I feel like Pinkerton did say he had some. He had kids, but I could be wrong there. Maybe I'm just assuming since I have kids and he's the same person as me. True Star Screamer. Hey, I feel like I've never seen you in here, or at least it's been a long time. Even though I come to Figure Action Podcast, I feel like pretty regularly. So I'm just gonna put you on blast there. Also, just call me BB says, oh, or pets, maybe not pets.
Yep.
Or he kicked them to the curb. All right. So did you have anything to add on that, Memo?
It definitely is a lot going on, especially on the bottom three shelves. And the problem with shelving is as you get lower and lower, it becomes harder and harder to see the figures unless you're standing further away. So, I mean, I would recommend maybe buying another shelf to put alongside this because there's definitely some room there, and dividing it up, Transformers on one side and Gundam and whatever on the other. Put the combiners on the bottom, take out one of those shelves just so that they're off the floor and they're visible. And other than that, I mean, he's got the lighting. Granted, it's yellow, but at least it's there inside that dark cabinet. But other than that, I mean, I think it looks pretty good.
You know what kind of display cases that I like, but I end up not getting just because it feels like you're losing space. It's the ones display cabinets that are full cabinets, but the bottom half are like closed off, where you could store, maybe you could store some things that you don't want to show.
No,
But then that way,
yeah.
as you see, all your collection is kind of at good viewing level.
You force it up.
Yeah. But
I mean,
again,
it's
a trade-off.
The fact that we've got options on combiners now, right? I'm not necessarily sure that we even need to go that way, right? Because like Mimo said, as long as you can find a display case where you can take out the bottom shelf, right, so that you're doubling up, we can put our combiners in the bottom now. And even when you're looking down at them at that angle, they're tall enough, right, that you can see, oh, that's one of those big guys, you know? But yeah, I've never been a fan of those, like the ones with the drawers in the bottom. It's like you said, like I always feel like if those drawers weren't there, I could do something, you know?
All right. Well, Baker Jin, hope he'll be back on. I know he signed up for a couple of other topics. I think he might actually be on the next week's topic. Or not next week, next episode's topic, which we'll reveal at the end of this episode. All right. Next one is from community member Hard Return. I'm obviously a big fan of his. I worked with him quite a bit with Mastermind Creations and Ocular Max. He does the photography, a lot of the photography for them. This is his collection. He's also a Canuck like you. He should be pretty near you, Rusty. Do you know him?
No, I don't. Unfortunately.
Okay.
But I'm still trying to figure out who's who in the zoo and in the whole community. So yeah.
He's friends with Eric as well. They're in he's in the Toronto area. So oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to pronounce the second T in that. Toronto, right?
No, Toronto. That's good.
All right. Well, this is his display. Why don't we start off with you this time? What do you think?
Definitely a fan of the floating shelves. I really am. That's actually what I'm considering doing out with the rest of my collection. I want to do that with my Legends, just because Legends are so hard to display on a shelf, like a Billy or something like that. Is that an entire shelf of Six Shot?
That's what I was thinking. That's why I leaned in. I was like, is that what I think it is? I think that's exactly what it is.
So, I mean, good that he has favorite characters. And he's got risers going on, definitely. I think everything's bright enough he could definitely get away without having any lighting on it. So, I think it looks really good. I love the Autobot symbol. What's the book? Is that the
Covenant of Primus?
Covenant of Primus. I have the same. I have the same thing right over there on my wall.
Nice.
Definitely a fan of that. It's a great addition to the collection. But I think it looks really good. Well organized. Risers going on. Nothing bad I can say about it, really.
The Covenant that Covenant of Primus or whatever. I remember it was really not very expensive when it came out because it's just a book and a kind of thing. But now it goes for like crazy money.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know what not even the book. I've seen people selling the case the thing box that's on the wall there for crazy amounts of money. Not book is not included because people just want they want the logo on the wall, right? Like it's But
yeah, that's just crazy. It's kind of surprising that we don't have we have all these figures, but we don't have a lot of accessories like that. Like I know I would love like just a nice set of maybe light up symbols and stuff like that. We don't see that a lot. Like when I was putting my details together back in the day, I wanted to have a riser because the details are kind of short. And then at the riser at the bottom, I wanted to put the symbol because like I said, I always have an Autobot and Decepticon one, and I wanted to find like a nice symbol that lit up. And that was kind of hard to find. So any third-party companies out there, we need some more accessories like that. That was super cheap. I think you could sell a whole lot of them.
Yeah.
I think for me, the only thing that scares me about floating shelves is I had a floating shelf, and then one day I came into my room and it fell off. I had too much weight on it, and one of my figures, I forget which one it was, one of my larger figures fell off and broke, and it was such a bummer. Like, luckily most of it didn't break, but one broke, and it was like heartbreaking. So
did you?
So this is the only floating thing I had, and I secured that on all four sides with stuff. So, and I don't have that much in it, nothing heavy. So, but I think display wise it looks really great. I always like when people add artwork, especially those not fan arts, but characters that you can get at the different cons and so forth. Those are really nice. He has them nicely framed, which is great. Like me, I had one from a show, and then it's still like in the baggie that I got it tucked under the underneath some other stuff. So I definitely want to start collecting more of that and displaying that as well. I think it gives it a unique look because that's a unique original piece of artwork for you. So I think that's something you definitely want to show off. All right, so I think overall we gave it a good rating here. The only other thing I would say is that one shelf on right above his monitor. I feel like it's a little low. I don't know
looks like
why.
his monitor is holding it up.
Yeah, it does. It looks like.
Yeah. I would just, to be honest, I mean, like Mimo said, the lighting in the room is good. I would just add some LED lighting strips right on the back of the underside of the shelves just to light up those figures that are in the back. But same thing, yeah. I think it looks good. Some of the shelves are a little, again, like that top shelf on the left seems like there's a lot going on there. The collection's impressive. Yeah, I mean, and I think T-Man already said it, right? It's like dust, or somebody said it anyway, dust everywhere. That's the only thing the first thing that popped into my head when I saw this was, oh my God, I'm going to be dusting this for the rest of my life. But it's well lit. It's well organized. Just a little bit of lighting under the shelves, I think, would just make that whole thing pop.
Yeah, I like the bludgeon section down the lower right.
Yeah.
Cheryl says, I really hope Chatterday doesn't turn into Scully Collector Slaughterhouse. I'm never showing my collection anywhere. Hey, it's easy to judge, but my collection is a complete mess right now. So I can only say this. But when I show my collection, I'm like horrified by it too. So no, we're only doing this in good spirits. We obviously admire that these folks have actually a very nice collection compared to what I have. So
agreed.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Hey, Dare27. Cheryl also says she likes character sections. I've never been a big fan of that, where I have like a whole shelf dedicated to a character, but slowly I have like a prime one just because I collect a lot of primes that don't fit into any other part of my collection. So I'm coming down to resorting to that. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We got Morning Shorts has donated his small collection. You can see his is kind of the literally top shelf collection. Looks like most of it is from the main line recently. And I like this just because I don't collect the main line. And I've always been kind of like a snob, like, oh, the main line. But the latest main line is so good. And like seeing it here, I had to do a double take when he first sent it. I was like, oh man, that's a nice masterpiece collection. I was like, wait, no, that's not. But it looks really nice.
I think the best part of this is the gears stand-in on the left. That's my favorite right there.
That's that's to be filled later, but I think it looks really good. I mean, it's definitely season 1 oriented.
Yeah.
And I like, I mean, season 1 and 2 are pretty much where I like to try and stay. It doesn't actually work out that way most of the time, but I definitely respect what he's got going on. I think it looks good.
Yeah, that's the type of thing I was talking about. So there was definitely some thought put into what he wanted to buy and how he wanted, or she, sorry, it could be either or. But what they were buying, how they wanted to display it, where they wanted the figures placed, right? It's like Mimo said, it's season 1. It's spread out nicely. It looks good, even if it is mainline figures, right? Like I said, Paik, I'm being a snob for about 30 seconds here, but yeah, like that is well thought out, well done, well displayed.
Yeah, I missed a time when I could, like I said, when I was starting out, I was doing elaborate like scenes and stuff like that. And then as you get more and more, I think a lot can be said about keeping it lean and mean, as opposed to just collecting everything and then everything being packed in. So I actually really like this. It looks like he has like some mini risers. I don't know what that is, but he definitely has had that thought out too, because especially if it's on the top shelf, it makes it even harder to see stuff in the back. So it's nice that he thought that through. And then he has obviously a dedicated display for OP, the OG.
I'm curious what's on the other shelves.
Yeah, I know, right? He only sent me this. So
This one shelf is like, what else is going on here?
yeah, why is Gears front and center? That's a good question. I feel like he should be in the back, especially if it's a stand-in, right? The stand-in should go in the back until the real Gears.
I'm losing respect for T-Man if he's hating on Gears.
Well, sorry, we're not Gears fans here. Less is more.
Changing Gears, best episode ever.
Less is more. That's probably what your girlfriend says, right? True. Yeah, I say that like he's gonna be able to laugh and like respond back to me like he usually does when I'm guesting on their show.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the next one. All right, so this is a small picture from community member Red Ribbon Army, obviously a Dragon Ball fan, if you guys don't know what that reference is. But he wanted to show this off really quickly. Obviously, front and center is the custom stuff that he put together. So I wanted to show this off because that's one thing that I want to talk about in the future is customization. Whether it's just painting or scratch building, stuff like that, or kit bashing. It's always something I've really admired, but I've never gotten into. One, because I just don't know if I would be able to build stuff like that. And two, it ends up being really time consuming. And three, if you're doing custom paint work, it can be super expensive if you're not doing it yourself. Yeah. But definitely like the wheeljack.
The wheeljack is awesome.
The Cybertron wheeljack.
That's a really kudos to anybody that even attempts this, but that's a decent attempt at a Cybertronian wheeljack from episode 1. That's really good. I like it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and is that Fire Convoy?
That looks like Fire Convoy.
Yeah, what is it? Burning Fire.
Burning Guts.
Burning Guts, yeah.
Fire
Guts. PL's favorite one.
Oh,
he always has.
And I'm just so that's a space bridge that's in behind wheeljack there.
They're filling the space
bridge.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, well done. Like if he customized that himself, he made that himself. That's awesome as well. So that's well done.
So I was curious about that because I was like, where's that from? Is that like a set or? But it doesn't look like a set. It looks like a custom piece.
Yep.
And then obviously he has Overlord and some. So he has an interesting display because I feel like the scales are all off, which kind of throws me off. I'm a big scale guy. Yeah. And then he has like a space bridge with characters that never use that space bridge kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I want to see the rest of his collection. You can see some of the Masterpiece stuff in the background. You can see some details in the background too. Looks like he has a lot going on. So I was very interested why he chose this one shot. But I think, again, it's to show off the customization that he's working on. I definitely admire folks who do that. All right. Moving on. Oh, True Star Streamer says Fire Guts Jinrai. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Okay. So this is from community member Sherlock Holmes, a buddy of mine who was literally in my physical transforming community in Northern Virginia. For a while. He has since moved back to his hometown out in the Midwest, but he's in the Discord. He was talking about this. I think he displayed this in our collection showcase channel that we have there where just the group will throw up pictures of their displays. This is only one section, but his theme, you can see he has, I think, 3 different shelves of this built-in one. These, I forget what they're called, the ones that are on the rails. But I like this just because it's super clean and super customizable. And unlike floating shelves, where you're kind of like stuck with that, you can make adjustment to these as you go along. So what about you, Memo or Rusty? What are your thoughts on this collection?
I think it looks good. I mean, it gives him, he's got the multiple genres going. He-Man, I see Ghostbusters. What else is there? It's hard to see for me, but
he has some pop going on.
Yeah, got some pops. Transformers, I see. It's definitely my kind of display because it's everything 80s pretty much is what I'm seeing. Definitely.
Well, in the conversation, he said that's one of the things that he wants to talk about. It was a topic that he suggested for our future Chatterday was evolving collections. So he was a big Transformers fan, and then he's shifted more recently to, like you said, more 80s, not collecting all of one thing, but collecting what he likes a lot of a lot of different things. So, you know, I collect a lot of Transformers, season 1, season 2, but like I said, who gives a crap about Gears? The Fans Toys Gears is coming out soon. I really don't care about, but I still have to have him for no other reason than I'm a completionist.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if I'd be happier if I, only focused on the main characters I liked and then focused on main characters on other brands and stuff like Ninja Turtles or whatever.
Yeah, for me, it's when I'm collecting something, I had to collect one thing. I can't. I like as soon as I saw this picture, I was like, man, there's a lot going on here, and for me, it's a turnoff because there's a lot going on. But like Mimo said, like it's again the thought behind the shelving, the spacing of the figures, what figures are on what shelf. That's well done. It's just that when I'm looking at that space, it's just there's just so much going on that I don't know what I should be attracted to. And it's just a personal preference of mine. Like again, when I'm like you said, Pig, it's when I'm collecting. It's right now it's like Transformers Masterpiece, and that's what I'm focused on. And my planning is all around that, and my thought process is all around that. Now the Legends episode is completely screwed up my entire life. I'll deal with that when I can.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I mean it's well organized. It's just not my cup of tea because there's so many different things going on. But it looks fine.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was talking about, which isn't really shown here, he has a really nice display of different artwork. You can see the Ninja Turtles poster. He also has the the same artist. I really like his style. It's kind of like a almost flat style. He has one with Transformers. He has one with Voltron as well. That looks really good. I think I had the Transformers one as my YouTube page background for a couple of years, like years ago. So really big fan of that. All right, so there we go, Sherlock. A quick shout out to TM Reviews who came in late. So he said his excuse was notifications, no notifications. I feel like YouTube is pretty crappy with notifications. True Star Streamer, I already replied to you in the chat, but let me know when there's a figure photography topic. We have one already started with hard returns. So we do need more people for that. So if you were to join the Discord and join the channel, we could get you involved in that. So don't be lazy. All right. Robot Chotu's also says into toy photography. So yeah, we can definitely get you guys on. I run a whole account on figure photography for Just Call Me BB. Where are you at then, man? Get into that Discord.
You got an Instagram? Throw it up in the chat.
Yeah, hard return is going to be on that photography topic community chat today once we do that one. But we only have him for now, but looks like we have 2 just in the chat room that could join. So again,
Deluxe would probably be into that too. He puts out lots of pictures of everything he reviews.
Yeah, Deluxe is usually in here. I don't know where he's at today. He's probably busy.
So he got an Instagram? I must be following Deluxe's Instagram. I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, G Tony just came in as well, and I feel like who else did? Oh, Inu Tabby. Good to see you. All right.
No Kato?
Yeah, no Kato. Oh, so I guess that was it for that. But before we go, did you guys want to show off a little bit of your collection? If you can, it doesn't sound like Rusty can, but Memo, do you want to just tilt your head to the side, show us what you got going on here? Give me a second, and I'll.
Well, definitely all masterpiece in this section. Try to kind of make it a little bit 3D. So like you got Omega Supreme, he's crushing Skywarp, Legends Skywarp. That's the only Legends figure on the set, but I've tried to keep it Decepticons, Autobots, and this is just the mixture of movie bots and then some random scenes, character dedicated shelves, but it's still a work in progress. These shelves are relatively new.
Yeah, so what are those shelves?
They're the IKEA Billies.
Okay,
Yeah,
they are.
they're
That's
Billy's, eh?
Yeah. Again,
You
love
gotta
the
get the
corner.
you gotta get the doors, man. You gotta close that up. Keep that dust off there.
Well, I went with white, so it doesn't look as dusty as the black.
Poor Omega is just hanging out there.
Well, I put him on the top, and then all my big combiners on the bottom.
Yeah.
But I think that what I was talking about before, like it's nice because you had that definitely draws your eye to it because everything else is kind of uniform, and then that's him right in front and center in a big space. So
yeah, I wanted him.
piece.
He's always been one of my favorite characters from the first season, and I wanted him to definitely be somewhat in the center.
Yeah. It's and again same thing like I said before, Mimo, right? Like it's well thought out. It's like you've got everything spread out nicely, right? So you could see pretty much every figure that you're looking at when you walk in the room, and whatever you're using for lighting in the room is really good too.
That's a $25 Lowe's contract.
Well, it looks like you got some blue going on.
You're doing
the
something
top
right.
shelf.
Oh yeah, I've got some. Let me turn the light off. I've got some backlighting.
Oh yeah, see?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
It's subtle. It's like what do they call it? Like ambiance lighting or whatever.
If that's what you want to call it, sure.
Yeah, turn off the lights, get into the mood with your Transformers with the little lights there. So.
And I just realized how much the cold is making the gap bigger between my trim and my ceiling. That looks horrible.
Oh yeah, didn't notice that until you pointed it out. Good job. All right, well, Rusty, let's switch over to you. I know you said you had some.
I got it's a bit of a mess right now, but I've still got two of the best of cabinets up. So and as you can see, I've got the Toy World Constructicons. So this is all best of cabinetry with glass doors. To be honest, the glass doors actually bother me. I mean, I have the glass doors again, like I said to Mimo, right? I just like a closed cabinet for my collection just to keep the dust off and stuff. But the thickness of these borders on these particular glass doors actually bother me. IKEA used to have these glass doors that didn't have this border. It was just the frame, so they were great. It was basically giant detolfs, and they discontinued the doors. And man, I went on a complete rampage on IKEA when they did it because I was so angry because I didn't have all the doors for all the cabinets that I had, so I had to switch to these because I couldn't get the ones that I wanted anymore.
Is that is that between the panes?
What's that?
Or the border? Is it?
Yeah, no, it's on the doors.
Okay.
Right. See, like it's around the door, right? So it's but when you're standing up, you'll actually get cut off from like the top part of the Constructicons, so you kind of have to bend down to see. So it's a little bit annoying, but so I keep looking for options to replace these with something else, but I haven't found anything yet. But as you can see, right, I've got the lighting going on. I've actually got two different types of lighting. I've got the pot light in the back, and then there's also a strip LED that's right here along the front edge, just to project some lighting into the case as well. I got the same thing on the other side, and same thing. I spread these out. I've got the Decepticons on the left side, and then I've got two cabinets of Autobots on the other side.
Looks good.
Very nice, very nice. I always like the Bestas as well. I have them for my entertainment unit for my basement, so I didn't want to have the same cabinets that I have out there, so I wanted to switch it up a bit in here.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel you on the IKEA changing up slightly some colors and stuff like that. Even with the detolfs, they changed from some of their dark brown or whatever, or almost black and black. Like I have those, and I'm like, I can't display these next to this one or that one because you can definitely see when they're right next to each other. You're like, this is not the same color.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating.
Yeah, it was absolute insanity when it happened because I think the doors in Canada are like $50 a piece, and I had bought 9. Yeah, I bought 9, but I needed 12. and then they discontinued the doors, and I was like, I have this entire cabinet with no doors, and I can't get the doors anymore. So I had to get rid of the doors. I sold them on Kijiji, so I could go and get these black ones, and I've been disappointed with them ever since, right? Because again, that black border it cuts off too much. It's like you were saying about like the Billy bookcase doors with that bar across. It just detracts from the eyes, right? But I don't like the idea of an open cabinet. I don't like dusting.
Yeah. All right.
I went with white.
All right, well, thanks everyone who submitted photos for this community chatter day. I'm sure we'll be doing more about displays. We actually broke up this topic. We were going to do displays / dioramas and stuff like that, but it just ended up being too big of a topic. So we'll probably come back with dioramas in the future. So if you're into that and want to be part of that topic, or you have a diorama that you want to submit for that topic, definitely let me know. Send it to me, DM me, post it as a comment, whatever. Just get it over to me so that we can share it in the future. All right, so that's it for power rankings. The next segment we have is one where we kind of already talked to a lot of this, but I wanted to talk about tools, tips, and tricks, and kind of the process of going through and planning your display. And that's something that I think a lot of people don't do, really plan. I know I'm guilty of this. So this is more of a do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. But I also come from a management background professionally. So whenever I think of projects that I have to do, and I think people should think about displays as a project, right? We go through what we call the Deming cycle, or the plan, do, check, act cycle. So if you guys are familiar with this, it's just kind of an iterative cycle of going through and making sure that the things that you're working on continually get better and better, and what you kind of should do at each stage. So I wanted to go through this, stop at what some of my suggestions were, and then also get some feedback from each of you guys to see what you would add to each of these steps. So starting with plan, that's the kind of the obvious one. I think this is where you got to get organized. And this is probably the first time around where you're going to spend most of your time, and where you should at least spend most of your time, right? It's kind of like the measure twice, cut once thing. So some of the things that I think of, you should be thinking of when you do your collections display is, again, what are you displaying? And or if you're displaying just one set of things or multiple collections like Sherlock, or or maybe you're displaying different scales like Legends and so forth. What are you going to display? So what are the themes? And then, as I mentioned before, I like always having some kind of set pieces, cornerstone pieces, or statement pieces in every collection. So things that you're super proud of, that will be eye-catching when you come in. So it's not just one big shelf of everything kind of the same size. Maybe it's not, maybe it is the same size figures, but maybe it's actually in a diorama or something like that, that something is distinguishing, eye-catching. So we kind of talked about that. And then another thing people don't do, and I was guilty of this when I first started, is I just started buying shelves because I was like, oh, I want Detoss or I want Billy's. And then I didn't really plan on how they would fit and where they would go to make the best use of my space. So those are kind of the suggestions that I have. Want to hear from the folks in the chat as well as you guys here. What else did you do when you're kind of planning out your display?
So the very first idea that I had when I decided that I was going to go with the masterpiece theme, the very first thing that I decided was, and like you said, it was how was I going to display these? And the very first thing that popped into my head was if I did it by faction and by season, and that was the deciding factor as to what I was going to buy to be able to meet that goal, right? And I looked at the details first, but like you said earlier, I just found like the details wasn't going to give me the real estate that I needed to enact my vision, right? So when I saw the bestas, that's when I made the decision on the bestas. And the second thing that I got into was, actually I just lost my train of thought. So I'm gonna pass it over to Mimo, and as soon as it comes back to me, I will let you know. But that was I was like, I want to do Autobots, Decepticons, Autobots on the left, Decepticons on the right. Oh, that's what it was. I wanted to do by season. And then the second thing, when I looked at the bestas, the second thing that immediately popped in my head was I want to display it like a museum display. I want to have the lighting like a museum does, right? When they're artifacts, right? They're displaying artifacts. I want to have like the little placards that have a name or a description that tells you what it is. Because I knew that the Masterpiece figures came with the bio cards. I wanted to use the bio cards as like the thing in front of the figure that says, this is the figure, this is the stats. That was the idea that I had in my head, and that is the vision that I'm still going for today, right? As you saw with the cabinets behind me, I started down that path, but I'm still not there. And it's and the other thing, and I'm sure as you're going to go through this with the do check act, right? It is an evolutionary thing, right? But you to get an effective display, you should have a plan. You should have some idea. You can't just haphazardly throw stuff at a wall and be like, there's my collection, because you will lose that effect, right?
Definitely agree. What about you, Memo?
Yeah, I mean, the display is a constantly growing and changing monster. You have to plan out your purchases, plan out what you're going to do. Yeah, don't buy just based off of the live reviews by Peg. Definitely plan your stuff out. I mean, like you can see right here, I've got this big empty space, but I know that here in the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna get all three of the deformation space seekers. That's exactly where they're gonna go.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask what that gap was
Yeah.
gonna be filled with.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
You need to figure out. For me, it's like a different room for each genre. Like this is my masterpiece room. I'm gonna put my legends out most likely in my TV area, if I can keep the cat off the shelf. But you got a plan where you want to put it. It's just like decorating your house. You got to come up with a theme, and you need to stick with it. Or if you're going to change it, you got to change everything and do it right. But the main thing is do what you want. Choose what you want to do. Don't make an area for something just because somebody says you should collect it. Always just plan what you want to buy, plan what you want to collect, and just make it happen.
Yep. I think great feedback. I think one other thing that I should have added here is when you're planning, definitely steal ideas or take a look at what other people have done. Because if I looked at other collections before, I could have maybe known that, details are not what I would like, because I like the bestas. Maybe I should have went with the bestas and thoughts like that. And again, stand on the shoulders of giants. There are people who do this, basically professionally, right? So like Rusty Mechanic stole the museum ideas from literal museums, having placards and stuff like that. So don't be ashamed of stealing and integrating, just piecemealing some of the stuff that you like to build your vision. Starting from scratch is always really hard. So if you have something that you like and you can build off of, that'll give you a leg up. All right, so that's step one. Step two, we're going to go to do. So this is a pretty kind of obvious one. You go buy your stuff that you've planned out and you've laid out. Build out your display, set everything up, accessorize. So when I talk about accessorize, it's kind of like those things that you guys have talked about with the risers, the lighting, the doors, things like that will help your display to get to the kind of next level. Also, figure stands or flight stands if you like jets in alt mode and stuff like that. This is where you really get to. This is the fun part. Well, relatively fun part. Sometimes having to transform everything into the right way and have it displays can sometimes be maddening. But this is where you actually start seeing it come into fruition. But I wanted to stress what Rusty said is get started. Once you start, it will be a lot easier to start building on that. But if you try to hold everything back and try to put it on paper, put it out there from paper to one finished vision, I think you're setting yourself up to failure, because unfortunately nothing goes to plan ever, perfectly to plan. So let yourself make mistakes, put it out there, because that's how you're going to iterate, and that's how you're going to get to, do the check and act part that we're going to get to.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Pick. Like, I mean, be prepared to fail. Right, you are going to plan something. You're going to make a mistake, but you're going to learn from it, and that's fine, right? Like, and a really good example. I can't show it, but I mean, I bought these Bestas, and it turned out that Fans Toys Omega Supreme is this much too tall to fit into a standard Besta space. So I had to move the shelves up and down, and I don't mean just in that one cabinet. I had to do it across all the cabinets because my OCD set in, and I had two shelves that were a little higher than the rest. I had to adjust the shelves in every cabinet so that everything was straight across.
Yeah.
Just so I could fit Omega Supreme in the middle, right? So yeah, absolutely. Be prepared to plan, but fail. But you adjust.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you're gonna get into this and you want your display to look good, don't be afraid to take chances. I bought a 10-pack of just vinyl risers, and I loved them so much I bought 3 more. You know, you got to experiment. You've got to, if you think you're gonna like something, but
Try
you don't be afraid to start over.
Yep.
Just get it the way that you want it.
So the T-Man says, how come Chatterday sounds like Saturday, but it's never on? Well, it initially was, but we had to work around the community schedule, so we had to do Friday today.
Can we have a random thoughts by T-Man channel? Is that a thing?
It's a stream of consciousness. All right.
Yeah.
So,
but sorry, Pig. So, like in accessorized, like to me, lighting is your number one accessory. If you don't have proper lighting on your collection, stuff gets lost in your collection. Lighting is the number one thing that you should focus on when it comes to accessories, and everything else will fall in place after that. Again, just my opinion, but I always think that lighting is the key to your collection.
All right, awesome. So then we come to the more analytical part. So again, once you do something, that shouldn't be the end of your process, right? You're going to want to take a look at it. Do things like this where you get evaluations, because when you get evaluations from both yourself and from others, they might give you ideas that you haven't really thought of. And that's kind of the spirit of, at least, what we did earlier today with the power rankings segment. It's not to try to tear people down. We're really not about that. We're obviously trying to build people up. We want to give people thoughts and ideas that may help them improve. But again, you're trying to improve, so you want to get that feedback and take a step back from what your ideas were. Ask your wife. Honestly, that's some of the things that I got the best suggestions from, because she has a better sense of decorating in general, and it may not be specific to collecting, but things like, oh, it's really hard to see this there, or why don't you display this and this to have it a little bit more balanced? So I have one thing on each side as opposed to 2 on one side and this thing on the other, and so forth. I think that kind of external feedback really does help. So at least for me. What about you guys?
Anything you can do to get it the way that you want it. I mean, you're going to live with it every day. You're building it for a reason. It's something that you love, you enjoy. You have to be happy with it. And if you're not sure, don't be afraid to ask somebody else. It's always nice to get feedback. But the main thing is, you wouldn't have it if you didn't want to do it. And if you're going to do it, you definitely want to be happy with it, because you'll see it every day.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And like Peg said earlier, I mean, everything that we're saying here today is just, it's our opinions, and you can take the suggestions, the opinions that we have. What was that? My wife will what?
She said, King Rouse Review says, my wife will tell me quick if something is ugly.
Yeah.
About toys, right? We're still talking about toys.
No, it's true, right? Like our significant others are like the first ones to criticize stuff. But yeah, like everything we've said here this evening is our opinions, right? You can take the suggestions, you can leave them. It's what you want. It's what you, how you enjoy your collection. You do you, right? As we've always said, if you like it, great. But as Peik and Mimo both said, right? It doesn't hurt to ask the opinion. And I bring my wife downstairs constantly. I ask her constantly, come downstairs, look at this cabinet, tell me if this makes sense, if this looks right. I joke that I call her, actually she calls herself the busty mechanic, but we won't get into that. But when I'm doing my review videos, I have taken, like, I took MP13 and Acoustic Wave, and I stood them in front of her and I said, pick one of these two, right? And she said, well, I like this one because it's like this, and I incorporated that stuff into my videos, right? So absolutely ask other people. If you're stuck, don't be afraid to ask other people, what would you do in this situation? Because you'll get those ideas. And like Peik said earlier, steal from other people. Go poke around on Instagram. There's lots of stuff out there, lots of ideas out there. Steal from people and use whatever works for you.
All right, and then we'll finish out with the act. So act sounds kind of like do. A lot of people, this is also sometimes called adjust. But basically, after you've gathered your feedback, found out what it might have gone wrong or not according to plan, this is when you iterate, right? You identify the areas of improvement. And again, if it is a different type of shelf, don't be afraid to say, oh man, well, I already bought this shelf. I don't really want to get rid of it just because it doesn't look perfect, right? Again, you have to make that judgment call, but you do need to know that it's okay to realize mistakes as long as you're willing to improve upon them, right? Don't be stubborn about it. It's okay. It is a balancing act as well as a evolution. Your collection should always be kind of an evolution. And things may change. Again, you might just swap out specific figures like Acoustic Wave for MP13, and based on the accessories you have with that figure, it might change how you want to display it. So, like for me, I had my tapes displayed a certain way with MP13, but with Acoustic Wave, I have them displayed a different way because some of the tapes I like from MP13 are better than the ones that I have for Acoustic Wave. So I want to maximize with what I have, right? So if I think the Condor or Laserbeak looks better from Acoustic Wave, I'm gonna make that more of a focal point instead of just having him in the chest. And if I think that the Ravage looks kind of like Hollowy, then I'm gonna put him in the chest or put him in Sword Sword in the background or have him displayed with someone else, something like that. So again, you need to be able to iterate. And as we said before, once you do it, don't think of it as one and done. Make sure that you're always planning to come back to it. If it is something like Rusty said, you did these shelves and then you decided you needed doors for these because you found out that you didn't account for dust. That's something that you didn't account for, but it doesn't mean that you can't account for it now, right? So stuff like that. Any other thoughts, Memo or Rusty, on this step 4?
Don't be afraid to just redo things.
Yeah.
You can just revitalize your love for the collection just by moving some things around, reposing, cleaning, doing just some minor improvements. It'll definitely, if you're feeling burnt out a little bit, it'll definitely revitalize you. Always be ready to update, change, or improve.
I'll go back to my Omega Supreme example, right? When I realized that I wanted to put Omega Supreme in the Besta cabinet, but the way that I had the shelves organized wouldn't allow Omega Supreme to fit into the cabinet, or Terminus Gigantus into the cabinet, I took a step back and I looked and I was like, what would I need to do to put them in there? Well, I have to adjust these shelves. Okay, but if I adjust these shelves, I have to adjust all the shelves because it's going to look weird that one shelf is here and the other one's down here, right? But I did it, right? I pulled all the figures out off every friggin' shelf, spent an entire afternoon adjusting all these shelves, put everything back in. And when I stood back, to Mimo's point, I was like, damn, that looks good, right? It revitalized my interest in my collection. Nothing had changed except for the fact that I put a a figure in a spot that I wanted him to be in and adjusted a bunch of shelves. Nothing else had changed. But I was happier with my entire collection because I took the time to think about it, plan it out, and do it. And when I did it, it was good. And again, you might do it and you might go, man, that was the stupidest thing I ever did, but you'll learn something. And you'll apply that to your collection down the road for your planning and everything else, right? And that's why this thing is a circle, right? That Paik is showing, because you may act and it may not work. So you go right back to plan and you go through the whole cycle again.
And
One thing that you guys
doing
touched on about, which I think is revitalizing your love for a collection. I mean, you know, collecting so much, I feel like you end up forgetting about some of the pieces that you love so much, but just by proactively rearranging, not because you're not happy with your display, but just to change things up, right? To give something a little bit different, so you're not looking at the same display that you've had for the last year or something like that. I found that I forgot how much I love certain figures. I'm like, oh man, I totally forgot about this figure. Maybe from just posing it again, or maybe I decided I'm going to do these in alt mode or something like that. Going through the transformation again, going back and being like, oh, I don't remember how to do this. It re-sparks that love. It's kind of like renewing your vows or something like that, right? I feel like every once in a while you should do something like that to not forget about the figures that came a long time before or something like that. So another added benefit for making sure you iterate and change things up.
Yeah, just to remind you why you do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it might end up like I said with Sherlock. It made him. At some point he realized, this is not making me happy anymore. With collecting only Transformers, he realized that he would get way more joy by collecting just the Transformers he wants, but also opening up his horizons to other collectibles and other genres and so forth. I mean, I've done that too. Like I was starting to get into the Legends. I was like, I can't do this, not just for costing, but space and display and was I really loving these compared to my Masterpiece collection? For me, it wasn't, but for others, they felt that the Legends takes the cake over Masterpiece. So, being willing to openly admit again that things that you've invested in are not what makes you happy anymore, that's okay. And then you can sell off your collection and go somewhere else, or buy a different scale, or do something else with it. So,
pay off your house.
Yeah. All right. Well, great discussion here. I love that I had to bring in some of my nerdy work stuff.
I don't like feeling like I'm back in the office, by the way, Paik. If you could not do that ever again.
Yeah, I had to bring a little bit of something. I was trying to think of like a new segment to do or something like that. So I was like, I'm always trying to keep it fresh, but we have one that I always like to do, but I kept it short. I only did one this time, and we kind of touched on it earlier, but I'm going to bring this one up. So if you guys are new to Chatterday, This or That is a segment where you have to I bring up 2 different or maybe 3 different items, and you have to choose this or that. And there is a poll in the live stream that you can vote on live to give us your opinion on while we talk about it as well live. So we only have one today, but let's see.
I'm very sad about this, that there's only one, by the way.
I know. I usually do more, but it was really hard to keep one for collection displays, to be honest. Like,
I'm surprised this is here at all. So I'm good that there's even one. I was like, how would he do with this and that for collection displays? Okay, let's do it.
All right, so let's get started putting it up shortly. So first one up is, and we talked about it, it was like one of the first things we said, Detail.
No.
No, already know without even
already know. Whatever the other option is, I'll take it.
Oh, man. And the other one is a gimme, the Billy, which I feel like these are 2 main ones that every novice or even even expert displayers have had in their collection at some point. So The poll is live now. This or that. Do you prefer detolfs? If you could only, again, one or the other, if you could only have a collection of detolfs or only a collection of billies, what would it be? Place your bet now. Well, Rusty already said he voted for
Well, now I have to take it back because I didn't think you were going to go with the bill. I'm going to let Mimo go first. I have to think about this now. Go ahead.
Oh, a white billy. Definitely not a black billy.
Colors doesn't matter. Just the model itself.
Yeah, billy definitely over the detolf.
I can't do I can't do open-faced displays. So now I have to retract everything.
Well, no, it could be the billy with. It could be the billy with.
Oh man, you're killing me though. It's
no, you can accessorize. You can accessorize. I'm just saying but as far as the frame of what you're working with for your display, got detolfs.
See,
or you got billies.
For me, the billy's not deep enough. I need that depth to be able to move, adjust, have that real estate.
They're surprisingly deep. That's not a good picture.
Like deeper than they're not as deep as a detolf, are they?
No, they're about almost a foot deep.
I hate detolfs. It's why I went with the Besta, but I'm gonna go with a detolf here just because there's something classy about an all glass display, and I don't have an all glass display, right? As you guys just saw, right? There is something about an all glass display that is classy, but I'm not a fan of the detolfs, and I went with the Bestas only because of the real estate. If I had to choose between a detolf and a billy, I would probably go with the detolf.
Oh man! And
I know, right?
You were so quick. You were like, no.
He said it before I did.
I also am realizing because I'm having the live chat next to the chat that comes in StreamYard, and we're missing a lot of comments in the StreamYard one. I don't know what's going on there.
Really?
But yeah, like I'm missing a ton of them, and they're way delayed or just completely missing. So I'm gonna have to make sure to be more mindful of the live chat when I do this too. But I can't highlight some of them. Like Maddie the dentist said both. And then it came up really late, and some others are just not even showing up, or really delayed.
Okay, listen, this is the 4th episode of this. People that say both should be immediately banned from your Chatterday. It's called this or that for a reason, folks.
Exactly. Tell it, preach it, Rusty.
The reason I don't like the detolfs, and I like the look of a glass case.
Yeah,
is to me, there's so much lost in the background. It just.
But you could put a background.
Yeah, you could put a glass door in front of a billy. There's a lot of coulds, definitely. But
to me, a billy looks like a bookcase, right? It doesn't look like it should do anything other than display books. That's the problem I've always had with billy bookcases.
Now.
But I'm looking at yours in white, and I'm going, you know what? You almost got me.
So the one thing I did with my detolf is I actually put mirror film on the back, which I don't know if I love, but I definitely preferred over just the wall, like white wall or black wall, or if you have I have a beige wall. You definitely don't want to display with beige in the background, right? So I put mirror film on the back of both of mine.
Yeah,
but see the thing with that with mirrored backgrounds as well is that it goes back to the lighting thing, right? Is that it will pick up the lighting in the room and reflect it back into the case, right?
Yeah.
So you have that advantage as well, right? Sorry, Mimo, go ahead.
I think the downside is that I noticed is it does make it feel like it's more cluttered because visually it looks like you have double the things.
You got double, so yeah.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah.
All right, so clearly. It was funny because we thought we were going to have 2 billies because obviously Memo, I forgot that you just have a whole wall of billies. And Rusty was so anti-detolf that now he's kind of swung around. He's like pro-detolf.
I didn't know what the other option was.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with detolf just because I feel like especially if you don't have dedicated lighting for your display, having that glass open and having lighting being able to shine through naturally, I think does help. The footprint is I feel like I agree with Rusty. Like having a little bit more depth is nice. And then the only thing I really hate about the DTOF more than anything else is the non-adjustable shelves without, like that makes it really limiting.
This is the problem with this. So what you chose, right, is you've chosen a display case and a bookcase, but the display case does not have adjustable shelving, whereas the bookcase does, right? So there's advantages to both, right? And that it's a tough call. Like that, those two are like.
The nice thing about the Billies is you have the option, if you want, of getting a glass front, and it's wide. My plan is to put some sort of diorama in the background of the Billy to break up the complete white, to add some color to it. So that's one reason why I like the Billy, is because you've got the width to really work with as far as customization of the backgrounds and things of that nature. With the DTOF, you can do a background, but you're limited to what, 15 by 15, like that.
I will point out though that people have put Omega Supremes in their DTOFs and you have not.
Are you talking about me?
No, Mimo, right? So Mimo's Omega, his arm is sticking out of the case.
No, that's not. That's for
that. I did that on purpose.
Sure, you did.
You said that you made it three-dimensional.
Yeah, so he's reaching out at you.
Yeah. But
all right, well, the votes are in, and what do you guys think? Do you guys think they win?
You know what? I would not be surprised if it's one way or the other. If you showed me 51 to 49% right now, I would not shock me at all. If it's anything beyond that, I would be a little surprised, because I just feel like the advantages and disadvantages of both are so close that I bet this poll is
I think the DTOF is going to win, just because it's so popular in the collecting community. You see so many pictures of people that are utilizing DTOF.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the poll is ending, so get your vote in if you have it. All right, ending the poll. 58% went with DTOF. So, Rusty, you won, but you lost.
It's close though. It's close.
You won, right? Like the vote, but you died inside a little bit, right?
I did die inside a little bit.
All right. So that's it for this or that. Sorry, a short one for that. I couldn't really, honestly, I was thinking about maybe doing lighting versus risers or something like that, but I felt none of them were as.
Yeah, that's like apples and oranges, eh? It's
exactly.
You know,
so.
Yellow lighting versus white lighting.
Oh, white lighting all day. Come on. It's not even a question. If you got
yellow
lighting, if you choose
colored LEDs. Colored LEDs versus.
That might be something. Well, maybe that's a this or that for a future.
Next one.
All right. So we're coming up towards the end. I always like to leave a segment for Q&A. Sometimes it's the front, sometimes it's at the end. It's an opportunity for the chat to submit some questions that they have regarding the topic, or even the guest to ask the other guests in the channel some questions that they have about collections and displays and so forth. So if you have any questions for us, let us know. Otherwise, we'll ask each other a couple questions before we start wrapping it up. Let me look at a couple comments real quick.
Rusty, are you using the puck lights?
Rusty, you're muted.
You're muted. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was pouring a drink and I didn't want to glug 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 glug.
I was like, he's really good at miming.
I am?
Well, because you're muted.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got the puck lights and the what are they called? The fly, the IKEA. whatever the strip light is that goes right in the front of the shelf.
With the little
I've
metal,
got-
the metal bracket.
Yeah, so I've got both. The puck lights are yellow, which, right, like Pig and I mentioned, I hate, right? And I know that IKEA's got white ones now. I want to swap all of them out for white. But they do a decent job of getting light into the one square anyway, right? And highlighting the figure. So
Riken Hoshin. Hey, welcome back. I remember having trouble with your name last time. He says Norfly.
Yep.
I mean, IKEA, can you just please put normal, memorable names in the US?
They're Swedish. Why would they do that?
Because they need to localize.
I was chatting with Sony about this earlier. Speaking of options for your, damn it, give me 1 sec. Options for your display and taking a chance on stuff. Now, Sony did a review of these, but I want to show it off because it is awesome. This is the New Supply.
New Supply makes some amazing stuff.
The cassette displays that New Supply did, right? I took a chance based on just what Sony said in his video, but look at, like, these are the types of things you take a chance on, right? Look at how cool that looks with the cassettes, right? Ejecting out of the cassette mode here, right? And there's options for this to display it in their alt mode as well, right? So Laserbeak and Ravage ejecting in their alt mode as well. If you guys have never bought anything from New Supply, this is my first shot at New Supply. Guy does awesome work. So go check out Sony's review video on this thing.
I've done a few reviews of New Supply stuff too.
Yeah.
If you can see it in front of, well, you probably can't, but in front of my Jetfire, I've got his G1 toy helmet.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And I've got the blast effects and things that he did for Phoenix, and also the Make Toy Starscream heads that he made. He makes some fantastic stuff.
And by the way, like, solid guy, because I ordered the deluxe kit that came with the blast effects for the pile driver. One of them was broken. So I emailed him and I said, look, one of them came in broken. He said, I'll send you a whole new kit. I was like, but it's just one piece that's broken. He was like, don't worry about it. So he's sending me a whole new set of the whole thing. I was like, how can you get any better than that? So
very nice. Well, shout out to New Supply. Maybe you'll become a channel sponsor. But I do have to ding you a little bit because you complimented Sony, and that is not allowed on my channel. So,
and for those that don't know, I'm talking about TM Reviews. Go check out TM Reviews channel. Go check out his review.
No marketing for him.
No more. I'm sorry. I'm cut off.
No, actually, congrats. He actually just crossed 7,000 subs, so he's catching up to me very fast. Yes, I think this past week, I think I'm nearing 8,000 subs. So if any of you guys are not subbed yet, I think I'm only like 50 away from 8,000. Slowly, I've been in the 7,000 for a long time because I've been slacking for the last year or so. But hopefully these Chatterdays are earning more subscribers.
I'm only at 775, so if you guys could get me to 1,000, I'd appreciate it.
Sorry, where are you at?
775.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll get you there. 775. That's not too far.
I'm at 558. So.
Well, then please go subscribe to Mimo first.
I don't think Pake's subbed. That's for sure. He's only commented on my videos once and told me to shorten my intro.
You know what drives me nuts is I was talking to Kato. You know that guy. So Kato and I started our channels at the same time, and that guy's at 5,000 subs.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Don't get it.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Kato, but I don't get it.
Anyway. Well, he's Kato. That's all you gotta say.
It's Kato.
Around like a donut. Is that what I need to do? Like,
don't steal it. Don't say sword.
I'll steal Bobby's. What does he always say?
Feet.
No. There's some phrase he always repeats. It's like he's getting to his next stop, but he's not there. So he says like something like that. No, I can't remember. I'll remember. But there's some phrase that he says constantly. If you turned it into a drinking game, you'd be in a hospital.
Riken Hoshin says, "Sorry, only stock, no subs." Boo.
Boo.
All right, so we only had one question from the chat from Robot Show Tunes. He says, "I wonder, are there collectors who don't display, collectors who put their toys away in a bin after they play?" I gotta imagine there are some.
We know that there's people out there that don't take them out of the box.
Yeah.
Inu Tommy doesn't take a lot of his stuff out of the box.
I don't get it.
Well, I mean, one of my friends from a while ago, I forget what his screen name is. I think his screen name is Paul Danforth, which is his name. But he, for the longest time, was just a mint and box collector, mint and seal box collector for years, and he collected all the masterpieces. And then I was like, "Dude, come on, you gotta open one." He's like, "No," and then I forget what I like basically pressured him into doing it. And then after he opened one, the floodgates just opened, and he opened everything. He basically only collected, would buy stuff that was, open box afterwards, and he would only wanted the things displayed. He wasn't paying a premium for any of this stuff, and he wasn't even displaying them when he was collecting them. He was like collecting them and then storing them. But I was like, just open one, come on, and then. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And now he went like full circle. Now he sold off most of his collection now, so it's kind of weird.
See, to me, it's the thing that gets me with the masterpiece stuff, and the legend stuff too. And again, thank you guys for that. Is the engineering. Like the first time that I opened a masterpiece figure and transformed it, my brain just like fell on the floor because I was like, I cannot believe the engineering that went into this to make this look the way that it looks and do what it does in both modes.
Yeah.
Right. It's fantastic stuff, guys. If you're not taking your stuff out of the box, you are missing out. You're missing out.
Yeah, that's what he said. The engineering is what ended up ultimately keeping him engaged and wanting to open stuff up.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't think we have any other questions. With that, we're gonna wrap up. We don't have comment time this time, just because I didn't actually put out, I think, a video in the last gap. If you guys didn't know, the reason why I was gone and not posting anything, one was because it's getting close to Lunar New Year or Chinese New Year, but also two, I was out of the country celebrating my 40th birthday. If you can believe it, I turned 40 10 days ago, so I was out of the country for about a week. So that's why I didn't post a video, but there should be videos coming, as well as continuing to do the Chatterday live streams every 2 weeks. The next one, as we're seeing here, the topic's going to be, do you even game, bro? Although we'll probably change the topic, but it's a gaming topic. We're going to talk about probably current events, current generation, meaning, the new generation of PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series XS, and I guess you can still consider the Switch in the latest, since the latest gen from them. Talk about new things that may be coming on the horizon, things that we're playing. Speaking of on the horizon, that's what I've been playing. I've been grinding out Horizon Forbidden West for the last week. Literally from a week ago, I think I put in 40 hours,
wow.
which is like a freaking full work week into Horizon Forbidden West. I'll probably hang up on you guys soon and go play another hour or so. But yeah, so that's going to be the topic. We have a couple of guests that will be coming on for that. I'll surprise you with that later, but I will get that scheduled probably in the next day or so you guys have that in advance. It will be in 2 weeks' time, and I think it's going to be actually on a Saturday, T-Man. So it will more closely resemble Chatterday Saturday for you.
We're not catering to T-Man's schedule. That's not happening.
I know, right? What's he going to be doing on a Friday or Saturday night anyway? We're old. He's older than I am, so.
Have you seen how many videos he pumps out? He has no life.
That is true. All right, and then as always, ending off on the information on how to get involved in Chatterday, the Discord link, as well as the Facebook. If you want to start following me on Facebook or reach out to me there if you don't have Discord. Discord is the easiest way. We have a dedicated private channel that is for folks who are getting involved, volunteering for topics, thinking up topics. We have like, I think 15 or so topics right now. And it seems like every time we get a volunteer, we get another topic as well. So they're going to be happening bi-weekly, every 2 weeks on the regular, as long as I can manage that. But as always, closing off, thanks again for our special guest. Again, this Community Chatterday wouldn't be possible without the community. So thanks, Memo, for coming on a second time, Rusty McKenna for coming on the first time. For both of you guys, it was fun talking about displays, especially because I think my displays are pretty janky, but getting to hear what you guys have done and your ideas has really made me thought that I should put in some elbow grease and actually get to redoing my displays from 2 years ago. So thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks a lot for having me.
All right. Any last words for any of our guests?
I have my push to 1,000 giveaway going on my channel where I'm going to give away an Apache or an Iceman once I hit 1,000 subscribers. So go check out my channel.
Too bad I hate both of those figures. So
I'm not giving you one.
Hey, why am I excluded? If I'm on your channel and I subscribe, why would I be excluded?
Pay Case Fans Boys.
Was that?
Pay Case Fans Toys. That's right.
We do have a channel that is called Pay Case Fans Toys in the Discord as well, as a joke.
I love it.
What about you, Memo? Do you have anything for us?
Your collection is something that you do because you love. If you're not set up a way that you like it, you can't really love it. So do what you need to do to build it your way. That's all I can say.
And do it your way. Do it whatever makes you happy. That everything we said here this evening, it doesn't matter. If nothing that we suggested makes you happy, it doesn't matter. Do you.
All right, and we got Eric Boy, who came on literally as we're saying goodbye. Eric, you can always catch it on the rewind and then play along with us in this or that. If you want to vote in the comments after this is over, we did a this or that, as well as looked at some other community provided photos of collections, and you can talk about which one's your favorite, which ones you like, dislike, some advice for some of the collectors out there. So one last thing I wanted to mention, Memo kind of threw me a jab. He says I don't watch his videos. I don't watch any other videos. I'm not gonna lie. T-Man and TM, we have a TM Reviews. We have a Facebook group chat that we talk on constantly, literally every day, all day. And I am so rarely in there watching their videos. The only time I watch T-Man's is when he does figure hunts, not even his reviews. Because I'm like, I don't need to see his reviews. I already know most of the figures. So I only watch his figure hunts for the most part, or some of his lives. And then obviously TM, if I'm not in his weekly Wednesday night, I'm like, no, I'm not joining. Ever so rarely. So don't feel bad. I'm just an asshole to everyone. I don't feel like watching anyone. All my YouTube time is devoted to non-Transformer stuff. I'm not joking. It's to shorts a lot recently and anything but Transformers, to be perfectly honest. So, anyways, thanks a lot. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, it's funny you say that because I try to watch other people's channels and I just can't sit there and listen to somebody else talk about Transformers knowing that I'm going to talk about the same thing at some point as well.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do it. I try, I honestly try, and I just, like 2 minutes into the video, I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Well, I've also said that I don't want my first impressions. If I know I'm going to be doing the same figure, I never watch or read on somebody else's because I don't want it to like kind of taint my own first impressions.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't want to feel like I'm stealing from another reviewer either, right? I don't want to. If I make a comment in my video, I want it to be genuine, right? Like, or in my review, I want it to be genuine. And when I give the shout out to T-Man earlier, that's like one of the few rare times I've actually gone to another reviewer's video and be like, how the fuck did you do this? Because, I was so stuck on Thomas. Like, Thomas is the one I always go back to. I was so stuck on Thomas. I had to go look at somebody else's video But otherwise, yeah, I'm the same as you, Pig. I'm like, I don't want to be tainted by anybody else's comment or view, right? I want to be honest and true and say what I'm feeling, right? And have that genuine feeling come across.
I love watching other people's videos. That way I can feel justified in my poor budgeting and purchasing decisions.
That is one of the added benefits. I
Absolutely.
see how much stuff that T-Man and TM review. I'm like, well, I'm not as bad as them. Anyway, all right. Well, thanks everyone. We're gonna cut it off today at this point. Appreciate all of you. If you guys like the Chatterdays as much as I do, and hopefully as much as the guests do, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep in touch, leave a comment. And if you want to make sure that you're notified, hopefully, like unlike TM reviews, you're notified for when I go live. And if you don't, because you don't follow my other channels, the easiest way is to just make sure that you click that notification bell and change your preferences to always get notified. I don't have that many videos anymore, so you're not going to get bombarded. But that's the easiest way. But also, it's every 2 weeks for Chatterday at least. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Appreciate you all. Love you all. Hope you guys have a good one.
See you later, everybody.
See you later, everybody. Thanks a lot.